Hey everybody, I am finally back with the video that I promised you with my dog Zola, who is currently biting me. So I know in my little intro to, hey, calm down, here. I know in my little intro to this video that I was going to put out, I let you guys know that my boyfriend and I did get a dog. She is a golden doodle. Say hello. She is super sweet, but she is very rambunctious and has a lot of energy. She seems to get a lot of her energy at night when we're ready to like settle down. She gets a lot of her energy around like 8:30, 9 o'clock. So we try to take her for a couple, my boyfriend will take her for a walk during the day, and then we'll try to take her for a walk. We actually live near a trail that is in like the woods kind of, so we try to take her for another walk there at night right before we come home and kind of like relax for the night. So she has really been keeping all of our time lately, and we love her, but she is a little handful, but she's wonderful. She's been a wonderful addition to our relationship. So anyways, as promised, today's video is going to be about emotions and self-sabotage. So basically, first and foremost, before I get into that, I really just want to say thank you to everyone who watched my eating disorder video and kind of has followed my story, and all the people that reached out with kind words. I really, truly appreciate it. You don't know how much that means to someone who is in a recovery process, such as myself. So I really appreciate all the kind words that you guys have said to me since that video came out. Sorry for the some food back there. In light of the whole coronavirus and everything that's coming out right now, I just so happen to need toilet paper and can't find any anywhere. So I had, if you guys have heard of Instacart, they find grocery stores that are around your house, and they will have you order through Instacart, and they will have people deliver it to you. So I actually tried to pick up some toilet paper on there, and then today, whenever I got home, they had to substitute it for napkins because they were out of toilet paper. So unbeknownst to me, I got napkins instead of toilet paper. So I'm gonna have to go back out and try to find some toilet paper somewhere. So anyways, let's just dive right into this video, emotions and self-sabotage. So I know for myself, I have been very, I've been very, what's the word I'm looking for? Open to giving myself self-sabotage. I've done it many of times before, and I haven't really thought twice about it. And with that self-sabotage, I think there's a lot of emotions that go into play with those. So I think that whenever we start to self-sabotage ourselves, it comes from a place of having some of the emotions that I'm going to talk about first and foremost, and then we get into self-sabotaging ourselves from that point. So some of the emotions that I think that some of us can all relate to are emotions of fear. Maybe you want to do something with your life, but you're afraid of change in your life, or you're afraid of taking the next step towards maybe a dream of yours that you have, or maybe you're afraid, if you're in a weight loss journey, you're afraid of, changing or losing weight or gaining weight, whatever have you. But that's an emotion that I think a lot of people experience. Shame and guilt for things that we have done in our lives or things that we haven't done in our lives. I think that we feel a lot of shame and guilt for those things. Pain and disappointment, disapproval. I think we feel all of these things from either it be ourselves, we put those emotions on ourselves, and we talk down to ourselves, which is a form of self-sabotage. But I think that we feel these emotions towards external things as well. So we don't want to disappoint our friends, we don't want to disappoint our significant others, we don't want to disappoint our families. So I think there's a wide range of, emotions that we can feel with different circumstances, and, where we get those emotions from. So kind of diving into the self-sabotage part of things, how do we really feel when these emotions come into our lives? Maybe we feel like we're giving up on ourselves. So maybe when fear comes into our lives, like let's say, I'll take me for example, starting a business in health coaching is scary for me. I have a full-time job right now, and the thought of leaving that job to something that is uncertain is a fear of mine. So maybe I hold back and I don't give it my all because, I want to be secure in that job. And I know that my full-time job gives me a secure income every 2 weeks. I know where the money's coming from, and I know it's a steady job and a steady income. So maybe we feel like we've given up on ourselves, whatever, with whatever you have going on in your life. Maybe we feel like we failed ourselves, like we haven't lived up to our full potential. Maybe we feel like we're not worthy of the desires that we have. I'm here to say that you are worthy of the desires that you have. The desires that you have, you've had since birth. The future you is already there. Who you want to be is already here. It's just you now taking the steps to get to where you want to be and envisioning yourself being that future self. So again, maybe we've given up on ourselves, maybe we have failed ourselves, maybe we feel like we aren't worthy of what we want in our lives. But we're worthy of anything that we want in our lives, and we can't let that thought process or that fear stop us from achieving our goals and our dreams and our, what we have a desire for. We deserve anything that we want. And I know that that can be typical for a lot of women to feel that way, like we don't deserve what we want because we have to put others first, or, we just don't think that we can do it. Whatever we set our mind on, we don't think that we can do it, and we think that we will fail, or we think that we'll disappoint people, so we just don't do it. But that shouldn't be the case. You should always go after your dreams and anything you want. So with, I next want to get into how these... Sorry, I just want to fix my phone a little bit. How these emotions can teach us. They can help us experience growth. So when we go through these emotions in our lives, like, we're down on ourselves and we feel that fear, shame, guilt, all those emotions that I said earlier, I think that they can hold us back from experiencing growth in our lives. And a lot of you have probably heard that, the most growth that we have in our lives comes from a point of vulnerability. There's a book I actually read by Brene Brown. It's called Daring Greatly, and it's all about being vulnerable and how we experience the best part of ourselves and the most amount of growth and success in our lives by being vulnerable and putting ourselves out there and putting ourselves in situations that we never thought we would put ourselves in, and making ourselves uncomfortable. And that's how we grow. So I think that, having those feelings and those emotions, while they can seem like a bad thing, I think if we turn our thought process and look at it from a positive light, they can be, a positive thing in our lives that draw us forward. They allow us to be one with emotion and fully immerse ourselves into the emotion that we're feeling. So one thing I want to stress is that we cannot rush healing in our lives. So whatever it is that you're going through, I will use myself for another example. I've been through numerous heartbreaks where I thought that I was not good enough, and I thought that I would never be good enough for anyone. And anytime a boyfriend and I split apart, it was always my fault, and no matter what happened, I always blamed myself. So that's an emotion that I dealt with a lot, of not being worthy, and, disappointment, and feeling like shameful, and like, I was never gonna, hi BB, when am I ever gonna meet someone that, I feel completely myself with? Hey, she still has the whole biting thing going on. Here, get your toy, get your toy, get your toy, good girl. So that was something that I had to learn very quickly, especially also with my eating disorder, is that you cannot rush your healing. These emotions that you're having, you have to sit in them. And I know that it can be painful, but sitting in them is, something that allows you to grow. Like I was talking about a little bit ago, like experiencing growth, really allowing these emotions to make you, to fill you and make you whole again. And just see them through. So if you have to cry for a week straight, then cry for a week straight. If you, whatever you have to do to, get past this point. Do not rush your healing process, because I promise you, no matter how painful it seems now, it is going to be brighter in the future, and you're going to be better for it. So I think that oftentimes these emotions, like I said, although they feel painful, they're a teaching experience for us. They're not the enemy. They're simply put in our lives as teachers, as a way for us to change and experience growth within ourselves. So, I would encourage everyone to shift your mindset on how you look at the emotions that you're feeling. We're all human. It's not a crime to feel an emotion. If you feel any of these emotions, accept the emotion, be with yourself, sit with the emotion, deal with it how you have to deal with it, because everyone deals with something differently, and then start to move forward from there. But look at these emotions as a teaching experience rather than a self-sabotage experience, because oftentimes these emotions can take us out of our true power that we have in our hearts, in our souls, and they don't allow us to thrive. So they keep us in a dark place where we tell ourselves that we can't do this. And whether you tell yourself you can or you can't, you're right. And I'm sure you guys have heard that a million times, but self-sabotage is not the answer to going through these emotions. So I will bring it to my eating disorder. That was, now some of the things that I have learned are that, the solution that I chose when I was feeling like I wasn't good enough for either relationships, or I just didn't look good enough, or I didn't feel good enough, or, I wasn't pretty enough. Those were all the things I told myself in my head. The solution was my eating disorder, and it by no means was a negative thing. It was just the best solution that I came up with to that point in my life. So I really want all of you guys to understand that the decisions you made in terms of any self-sabotage that you have placed upon yourself in those emotions of fear, guilt, shame, it's not, you make those choices because it's the best choice that you made. It's the best thing you could come up with at that point. With all the information that you had in that point in time in your life, whatever you were going through, the time of your life, if it was, whatever it is, you came up with the best decision you could at that time with the information that you had. So don't think that, your ways of self-sabotaging are horrible and you're a terrible person for doing these things. You're not a terrible person. And there's better ways to deal with it. You just haven't come up with those ways yet, and you absolutely can. So I just want to stress that if you are feeling these emotions in your life, sit with them, allow yourself to experience these emotions, and really just, allow them to fill you and push them out. Push them out however you have to deal with them, and then start to improve yourself from there. And start to grow, start to thrive in whatever you want in your life, and know that you don't have to feel like you're not worthy of anything, because you absolutely are, and your voice needs to be heard, and you are not to feel bad about your emotions that you have, because again, we're all human and we all have emotions, and it's okay. It is 110% okay to feel those emotions. And to see them through, and it's okay to deal with those emotions how you feel you need to deal with those emotions. Don't let anybody else tell you how you need to deal with those emotions. Seek out support when you need to from your friends and your family and your loved ones. But ultimately, at the end of the day, you are the driver of your life, and you know how you need to deal with things in your life. But I will end with just saying that you deserve everything that you want, and I hope that you saw some value in this video in terms of, feeling emotion and not feeling bad about your emotions, and, turning them towards maybe something that is more beneficial in your life than self-sabotage. Maybe trying to think of different ways that you can do something positive in your life rather than, turning to whatever you were doing in the past for self-sabotage with those emotions that you were feeling. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you again to all those with the kind words on my last video with my eating disorder. I truly appreciate it. Zola, I got to get back to her because she's just, well, she's kind of down and out right now, but she's just coming to bite me, so that's fine. So I'm gonna go play with her, but again, thank you guys so much for watching, and stay tuned because I do have a lot more videos planned for you guys around these types of topics and learning to love yourself and accept yourself for who you are. So thank you, and stay tuned, and we'll talk soon. Bye.